In life, there is something for everyone that voyaging is to me, and it's something that anchors you and pulls you closer to your core and closer to who you really are and who your ancestors have destined for you to be. I think about my experiences in and with voyaging as a relationship, and so it demands the same love and care and attention as any other relationship. And I think once you realize that all of these people, all of these places, everything and anyone that comes into your life is a relationship, that you decide how much you give to it and how much you nurture it and how much you malama it, that's what allows it to grow. This idea that we're not indebted to each other and we don't owe each other community and that we don't owe each other our aloha and our time and our energy. Because I think at the end of the day, that's really all we have to offer each other, is that nobody has to, but why don't they want to? And so I think that's a challenge that this next generation of cultural practitioners, of stewards, of people who are culturally grounded in their identity, I think that's kind of this next PE that we'll need to rise to, is how can we collectively get everyone to care? What drives that i'ini, that desire to care for each other and care for place, and how can we harness that and instill that in our keiki? Because it is all about the next generation, and I even feel that way still being kind of this young generation. Is I think a lot about, what comes next? What about the keiki who are being born now, and what's going to be left for them?
Samoan culture, or most of our people call it the Fa'a Samoa, or the Samoan way. A lot of resilience, a lot of determination and preservation, and I'm really proud to be Samoan. When I started working in the National Marine Sanctuary, every morning or every day there was an adventure. I think that excited me. But the best part was actually learning about what was there before, all the regulations. I got to learn about my own culture, my own people, and how resilient they are and how incredibly smart they were, or they still are, in terms of managing resources. I think it is important for a lot of our young people or older people to pursue an opportunity to be a representation of our native cultures within these spaces. There are so many young people that was involved in the process that are also Samoan and non-Samoan people that have the same ideology of making sure that we're not just putting up laws and regulations to prevent our people from being self-sustainable, managing their own resources like the way our ancestors did for over thousands and thousands of years.
A lot of hula has to do with the understanding of our role within the environment and how we interact and relate to it. When you start to interact with the space and you have, you're a little bit more invested, you start to create relationships. And then in all of those practices, there's other things, right? If you go and pick limu in a certain area, you learn how to pick limu so that you're not, you don't want to uproot everything out and then there's no limu left. You learn all of these things because you want to make sure that the resource is still there, and then you learn how to care for it. And then you learn to inform other people who are impacting the space to be a little less harmful in their impact. All of those things will translate within the hula performance. When you get a student who is intimately involved in their space like that, when they dance about that place and they dance about the practices, those particular practices, it'll show. And it'll show a lot different from someone who has absolutely no clue about what's going on.